In late 2007, the Iraq conflict is drawing down. President Bush has announced success, and reconstruction efforts are underway. Sergeant Matthews and his assistant Sergeant Isaac are dispatched to the construction of a pipeline located in the midst of the desert in Iraq. All the Americans employed at the site have been eliminated, thus it is now their objective to identify the offender prior to dispatching new contractors. The troops conceal themselves behind a cluster of shrubs and rocks to observe the area beneath the thawing sun, and 20 hours go by without anything occurring. Matthew starts to become restless, and begins to consider that there are no Iraqi troops departed, and taking into account the dispersed bodies, the location must have been targeted by a group that departed upon finishing their task. Isaac indicates there are no indications of a large group present outside, navigating this area, and notes that due to all the employees were slain by gunshots to the head, this might have been accomplished by the iconic skilled Iraqi marksman recognized as Juba. Nonetheless, Matthews believes that it is unfeasible for anyone to eliminate this many individuals in under 30 seconds. Ultimately, Matthews grows weary at last of waiting and descends to examine more closely the place after requesting Isaac to take his place. Isaac states that his range of responsibilities is becoming vague, and Matthews mocks him for not altering it earlier. However, this particular one holds significance for Isaac because it previously belonged to a deceased companion. Then Matthews travels from one person to another in search of hints and starts accepting Isaac's theory when he verifies all individuals perished from accurate headshots. He travels to the center of the location to determine the potential trajectory of the shots as Isaac pleads with him to retreat, but then a gunshot rings out and Matthews drops to the earth, experiencing intense suffering in his belly. Eager to assist his friend, Isaac flows along in a zigzag manner to evade any approaching bullets, but just as he is about to get to Matthews, he is wounded in the leg. Isaac is left with no option except to abandon Matthews and dash to conceal behind a damaged wall. Enduring pain yet remaining alive, Matthews contacts Isaac and instructs them to reach out to the base and request assistance. Initially, Isaac observes the injury to his leg is truly terrible, so he goes on to bind a band around it to prevent the bleeding. Next, he seizes his radio bag and attempts to communicate with the base, just to find out he has no reception due to the marksman had fired at the antenna. Out of the blue, Matthews reaches out him once more and requests that he identify the sniper so that he can target him, disregarding Isaac's warnings him that the sniper will observe any motion and fire at him once more. Isaac begins focusing on creating a gap in the wall with his knife to place the range, merely to injure his hand from some dropping stones. Matthews then goes on to make an effort to attain for his gun, just to faint from blood loss. Not wishing to meet the same fate as his friend, Isaac utilizes a knife to extract the bullet from his thigh, which is a very agonizing procedure. Then he dresses the injury before losing consciousness as well. A little while later, Isaac stirs awake upon hearing an unusual sound emanating from his earpiece. It turns out to be an officer from the base, and Isaac immediately begins reporting the situation and begging for medical supplies. However, he begins to get suspicious when the officer asks him lots of weird questions, and most importantly, he requests him to either tell them his exact position or stand up and fire in the air, claiming it is for the helicopters to drop the supplies accurately. Isaac points out this is against protocol and will put him in danger, and when he begins paying more attention to the man's words, he realizes his accent is not American. This is Juba the sniper, who has hacked into the radio frequencies to try to set a trap. Isaac does not fall for it and calls him out, but instead of hanging up, Juba begins asking him questions, claiming he wants to know Isaac better. Isaac tries the radio again, but it is still not working. Juba insists on making his silly questions, and when Isaac refuses to chat back, Juba threatens with shooting Matthews again, which is risky because there is a chance he is still alive. Isaac agrees to chat for a while and asks Juba to go first while he begins drawing a map of the site on the dirt to calculate the bullet trajectory and find the possible location of the sniper. Juba tells him he is just a regular Iraqi citizen that wants to save his country and asks Isaac to tell him about his family, but Isaac points out that is too personal. Then Isaac makes fun of Juba's reasoning, saying that he is killing the people that are actually trying to develop the country by bringing schools, pipelines, and infrastructures that will boost the local economy. This makes Juba laugh, and he explains that the money made here will be sent back to the USA later. As time passes, Juba keeps asking questions, but Isaac continues to refuse to say anything personal about himself, making Juba threaten to shoot Matthews again. However, Isaac does not believe him anymore. To prove he is dangerous, Juba tells Isaac the name of the previous owner of the scope and that he is dead, quoting Matthew's earlier teasing. This indicates that Juba has been paying attention to their discussions since they got here. Utilizing his telescope, Isaac observes that one of the deceased individuals possesses a radio with them, and he pulls his body to the brink of the wall, yet he wouldn't even utilize a wooden plank to do so, be capable of accessing it without revealing himself. Then, Isaac attempts to drink a bit of water from his bottle only to discover it vacant due to a hole in it, which Juba verifies he did intentionally. He too acknowledges that he did not fail to make any shots. He particularly fired at the bottle, the antenna, and Isaac's leg in to place Isaac in a predicament from which he cannot escape and cause him to perish gradually, a concept he will take pleasure in listening to via the communicator. When Isaac discovers the bullet he removed from his leg, he examines it more closely and starts computing the weapon model Juba has by posing some cunning inquiries. He additionally names Juba a menace, prompting Juba to chuckle once more, as he highlights that it is the Americans who are the ones unlawfully crossing into another nation armed with firearms prepared to take lives. As Juba speaks, Isaac performs additional calculations and examines his opportunity to ultimately arrive at the determination that Juba is concealed beneath a large heap of garbage. He has remained in such severe circumstances for an extended period, not to overlook the intense heat, which implies that individual is definitely a professional. Nonetheless, Juba refutes, being the renowned marksman who once more asserts to be an ordinary Iraqi individual. Based on his accent, Isaac suspects Juba could be an ex-US soldier, the officer who betrayed them, yet Juba disregards this too and clarifies he only slaughters individuals who strike him initially. In return, Isaac shares the story of how he met his best friend when he was a child and how they enlisted together later as adults. Soon dehydration and exhaustion begin having a hard effect on Isaac, who falls to the ground as he hears Juba tell him he will staple his tongue to his chest. Next, Isaac tries to trick Juba by putting a jacket and helmet on his rifle and waving it above the wall, but Juba does not fall for it. What does fall is the helmet, landing on the other side of the wall, so now Isaac cannot protect his head either. Such a silly mistake is the sniping point and makes him cry. More time passes, and Isaac becomes desperate enough to try to take a risk. He runs towards a body lying on the ground and steals his bag and radio before running back to the wall as he dodges all the bullets Juba immediately throws at him. In the bag, Isaac finds water and some candy that he immediately devours, but unfortunately this radio isn't working either. Juba also punishes him for this risk by shooting at the wall and heavily damaging his scoper. Suddenly, Isaac hears some disturbance coming from his earpiece and realizes it is Matthews, who is still alive. Isaac yells the location of the sniper at him, and Matthews immediately takes out a piece of metal to use in order to look at the pile of garbage. While Matthews moves extremely slowly to grab his rifle, Isaac keeps the sniper distracted by making small talk, and he learns that Juba used to be a teacher in Baghdad. When his students got killed during an American attack, he decided to get revenge. The wall Isaac is hiding behind is the ruins of said school. Then Juba asks Isaac while he keeps carrying the damaged scope, but since Isaac refuses to answer, Juba threatens to shoot Matthews again. Desperate to save him, Isaac confesses that he keeps the scope in memory of his old friend, who died because of a mistake Isaac made, and he still feels guilty. In the interim, Matthews sets down his rifle and aims indiscriminately at the heap of rubbish, firing at all the bullets he possesses as Isaac fires two to act as if the noise originates from him. When Matthews is in the process of reloading his gun when Juba unexpectedly fires at him, striking him directly on the shoulder. Isaac requests Matthews to move toward him on hands and knees, to seek refuge behind the wall, yet regrettably when Isaac approaches the edge to assist, Juba fires a gun at Matthews' head. Isaac needs to observe him perish and ultimately triggers a complete breakdown, stating his desire to return home. Juba notifies Isaac that if he truly wishes to go, then he will do not shoot him, yet Isaac is doubtful. Subsequently, Juba inquires of Isaac why he remains there even though the conflict having already concluded. Isaac takes a moment to instantly before responding. He is present due to it was indeed he who murdered his former friend. It appears he unintentionally shot his former sharpshooter companion during an attempt to eliminate an adversary, and Isaac has been deceiving everyone, claiming his friend was murdered by the villains. Unexpectedly, Isaac listens to a sound emanating from the radio and hurries to verify the signal, feeling joyful to listen to discussions happening. Nonetheless, his joy is fleeting because although he can hear voices, he is unable to send any messages due to the harm the radio sustained. To Isaac's astonishment, Juba participates in the discussion he is listening to, and the man employs Isaac's name to request assistance. Isaac ultimately understands that Juba has been all along breaching American communications, feigning to be a soldier requiring assistance to attract support squads to the location and eliminate them all effortlessly due to the element of surprise. Isaac attempts to interject the discussion was fruitless. After a while, Isaac awakens to the agonizing sensation of a crow pecking at his leg injury. Given that even the birds believe he is already gone, Isaac opts to take a hazard and gets Matthew's rifle with the help of some rope and a stick. He then points it at the garbage heap. At that time, helicopters reach the vicinity and disclose Isaac's whereabouts without realizing this is a snare. Aiming to rescue the arriving troops, Isaac pushes against the wall to cause it to collapse, generating a cloud of dust that obstructs visibility to obtain Isaac's location for Juba. Isaac starts firing at the heap of garbage without awareness whether he has achieved his goal or not. To locate eventually, Isaac rises from his spot, and he is surprised to see that Juba is not utilizing this opportunity to retaliate. This results in Isaac think he has successfully eliminated Juba. Before long, the helicopters come in and swiftly transport Isaac away on a stretcher, promptly providing him with medical focus. Isaac attempts to inform them about Juba, but he cannot be heard due to the noise from the helicopters ascending. All at once, Juba begins firing at them, taking the lives of the medical personnel individually prior to impacting the pilot too. The helicopter swiftly descends and collides with the ground, immediately ending Isaac's life and permitting Juba to honor his promise. In theory, Isaac has not been fired upon. Then Juba breaks into the USA, repeats the lines, and acts like an American soldier to attract his upcoming group of targets. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.